Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today for this special screening, which is part of the U-Kino Festival of Ukrainian Cinema. With an aim to raise visibility of Ukrainian film and culture more broadly, the intention is to explore possibilities of disagreeing well, sophisticated spaces to explore conflict and the role of creative practice. Organized by artist, founder, and curator, Dr. Sara Nesteruk, the festival takes place in the Soda Cinema at the School of Digital Arts at the Manchester Metropolitan University. My name is Ayla Dmyterko. I am a Ukrainian-Canadian artist, filmmaker, and researcher currently based in Glasgow, Scotland. This afternoon, we will begin with my most recent short film, On Volya, filling in the Frescoes, followed by Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors by Sergei Parajanov, concluded with a Q&A with Larysa Bolton from Kazky, a consultancy specializing in archives, libraries, heritage, and evaluation, Kazky translating from Ukrainian to stories. It is a true honor to introduce visionary artist and filmmaker Sergei Parajanov. 2024 marks the 100-year anniversary of his birth in Tbilisi. Going on to work and live in Kiev, as well as Yerevan, he once said, "Everybody knows that I have three motherlands, Georgia, Armenia, and Ukraine." Parajanov was raised by an antiques merchant, an environment which shaped his predisposition to folk artifacts, objects, and textiles, evidenced in his set design, as well as his dioramas, collages, and dolls. His early studies in classical violin, voice, and ballet shaped the structure of his screenplays. At film school, his thesis focused on Moldovan folktales, where he studied under the likes of Igor Savchenko and Alexander Dovzhenko. At the end of his life, he was named People's Artist of both the Ukrainian and Armenian SSRs. His films are ranked among the greatest of all time by Sight and Sound, a monthly film magazine published by the British Film Institute. Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors marks Parajanov's first departure from Soviet realism into his signature poetic cinefresque. It is praised for its vivid use of costume, color, and ethnographically sensitive portrayal of Carpathian folk culture. It is heralded as one of the most important pieces of Ukrainian moving image and a masterpiece of magical realist cinema. It is a Carpathian Romeo and Juliet archetypal story of Ivan and Marichka. The Hutzel Bartok score, composed by Miroslav Skorik, was mastered along with original Hutzel dialect in Ukrainian language, rather than being dubbed into Russian, which was common practice at the time. Parajanov was very firm about this decision, explaining that he considered the vocalized script to be an inalienable part of the artistic fabric of the film. During its release year of 1965, Parajanov was under close watch of the KGB for his active protests following the orchestrated purge of close to 200 Ukrainian intellectuals. It was received much differently in the West, described by the New York Film Festival as a haunting, avant-garde, extravagant, sumptuous saga. In 1966, following the release of Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors, Sergei Parajanov began envisioning a new film titled Kiev Frescoes. My short film, which I will screen today, is titled On Volya, filling in the Frescoes. It is a postscript to the surviving fragments of Parajanov's unrealized work. His film was conceived as part of an industry-wide effort to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Soviet Union's victory in the Second World War. Kiev Frescoes was a tableau vivant, introducing Parajanov's surrealist and balletic style that would become the director's signature, as seen in his later masterpiece, Color of Pomegranates. Kiev Frescoes, however, was deemed pacifist, provoking an anti-war message, and was terminated for allegations of mystic and subjective construal of the Great Patriotic War events. During the Soviet thaw, a period that saw intentional efforts towards institutional transparency and freedom of information, 15 minutes of remaining film rushes were rediscovered in a film canister labeled Diploma Film. My film, On Volya, imagines the unearthing of a second. On this 100th anniversary, it is dually breathtaking to look back upon Parajanov's visionary cinema in stride with the history of the communist Soviet Union, which shared the same lifespan. The Soviet Socialist Realism project led to stringent media control and the silencing of artistic freedom of expression in its brutal attempt to erase culture, history, and identity within the satellite states under the guise of utopian ideologies. It seared Parajanov's past, which I won't have time to fully delve into today. However, with cultural oppression eternally recurring in the brutal invasion of Ukraine by Russia, we yet again see, flashing on our screens, the destruction of cultural memory through the unbearable lives lost. The destruction of lands, archives, artworks, monuments, and buildings. With dignity, however, both Parajanov and Ukraine live on in our hearts as a reminder of the power of free will, defiance, determination, and perseverance. Reflecting on his legacy today, we celebrate as artists, thinkers, writers, and public the privileges that we have in our own creative freedom, and we must exercise these privileges in his honor. I could say much more of Parajanov's life and art. However, I will end with a quote by one of his contemporaries, French-Swiss filmmaker Jean-Luc Godard. In the temple of cinema, there are images, light, and reality. Sergei Parajanov is the master of that temple. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the screenings as well as the Q&A today.